Hi, we live. So, welcome to another scene in
Shadows in Austin.
that, yeah. That, because I don't really remember the name.
You got it. It's all good.
To start off, um, two certain individuals have decided to go out for dinner. Um, Primarily due to one saying something and the other was like, I get it. So, they have met through various means at a diner or some sort of restaurant. Actually, how fancy actually is this restaurant?
If Sabana's only a level 1 acquaintance,
Yeah.
just go. Okay, there we go. I'm back. Since Sabana's only a level 1 acquaintance, Nami is getting that upper mid range stuff. Upper mid range.
Okay.
So
There.
like a 3 or a 4.
There for what?
Like level, if we're talking about like on a scale of 1 to 5. Did I make up that scale? I probably just made up that scale. I just assumed you made it. My bad.
Wait, for like what? Restaurant?
Yeah, how good the restaurant is.
Yeah, they're like, they actually like great restaurants in 1 to 5,
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so it's a 3 or 4 star restaurant, I guess. I don't know. It's fancy.
Oh, yeah. It's not IHOP.
Probably some place that nobody was never ever going to go in their life. But here they are. The priest. So they will just kind of walk in, hands in their pants pockets, realize they are severely underdressed for this place. Don't really care. They'll just kind of wait until they see Zabanya.
Found you.
It it wasn't hard. I was standing here.
I'll take the W.
It's the L.
W is to indicate when.
But you said you'll take the L or the W, and that's generally like you'll take the L.
Seen it used that way.
That's because that's generally the way it's. Huh?
Butter what you like. At least once we get inside, that is.
Squints? Oh, that was louder than I expected. I'll just kind of squint. Like, what? What? What are you talking about?
Where did I lose you?
Everything very odd.
I was attempting to make a joke. And that failed, and so I attempted to change the subject very quickly.
What? Hi.
Hello.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
What are you doing? You're acting odd. Like you're trying to be playful. It's creepy.
I can be playful sometimes, but okay.
It's you, though.
Are you aware that I have a sense of humor?
No? You don't seem like the kind of person that would have a sense of humor.
Oh. Allow me to rectify that.
Doing what?
I can't prove it to you right now. I could show you the funny YouTube videos I watch, if you like.
You watch funny YouTube videos?
We all get bored.
Yeah, but I thought you would just go back to your charging base.
Are you insinuating I'm a robot? Sounds like it.
It's very possible I'm insinuating you're a robot.
No. I think I would dislike being a robot anyway.
It's not that you really get to choose.
Not necessarily, but given that I'm here, I am fairly open to not being a robot.
Yeah, but you act like a robot.
Is it because I speak so plainly and have a habit of seeing things?
No. You just never add any emotion or inflection into your voice. It's all just very deadpan, and you sound like you really don't enjoy life.
I do enjoy life. Very deeply, in fact. As for the way I speak, well, I assume that the way you act is the way you act while you present yourself in the way that you present yourself to others like us. Yes?
Possibly. You're using a lot of big words. Not really like I graduated high school, but like that was it. You using a lot of big words.
She'll look at the restaurant, look back at Dysnomia. Do you want something simpler?
Not like I don't mind this. Like it's it is what it is, but like, you're you know.
Let's get somewhere private. I'd like to speak with a bit more candor.
Okay. It's like where then?
Yep, so I don't think we need to roleplay ordering shit. They get someplace quiet as fuck. Someplace that's like kind of removed, someplace where people can't really hear them. So yeah.
Is Nomiya afraid of this new place? Orders chicken strips.
I'll just say they got chicken strips. It's all right.
So come here often?
Not particularly. I should apologize to you.
No, you're good. You don't got to. It's okay.
I feel otherwise.
Nah, you're fine, really.
I meant nothing negative by the things that I said, and I apologize if I made you uncomfortable, if only for a moment.
Like I said, you're fine. It's
I'm gonna do
okay.
it with sympathy.
Huh?
I'm gonna do it with sympathy.
Fine. Alright. I don't think they got a lot of manip subs. I was like, I don't need it. Let me see. Let me find my character sheets. Of course, I can't click it with my drawing pen because that would be too easy being able to click stuff with my drawing pen. Okay, they actually have a decent subterfuge.
Get it?
Let's fucking go. We gonna fight. Fuck.
But I got 4 successes.
What the fuck? They got 2. So, they feel awkward about it. Don't really want to talk about it very much.
Got it. He will, very quickly after all that, she'll come out and say, so, I might be a robot, yes?
Squints.
At least that's your assessment of me.
Kinda. Yeah. More so a joke, honestly. Like, I don't actually think you're a robot. Regardless of if you act like one.
That's what I mean. Acting like one.
Yeah.
Just because I don't make many facial expressions or my words are quite monotone. They're not necessarily a lack of feeling.
If you say so. You can certainly feel that way sometimes.
That's fine. Again, just as you are just Namia, I am Sabanya. And this is admittedly how Savanya is.
That is very fair. Okay, I'll give you that. We are all different in our own little ways. Yes, yeah.
Speaking of difference,
Oh boy. Okay, what is it?
what made you want to join the Mysterium?
There was some stuff I wanted to figure out.
You joined out of a general interest.
Yeah, one can say that.
Should not. And the Guardians because I felt that I was well suited.
Yeah, you definitely are. Not in like a bad way or anything, but yeah, I can see why. Yeah. Why are you so curious about figuring people out?
I always have been. For a long time, enjoyment of mine. You see, I love people quite a bit. And I don't mean it in the, well, I do have a general love for all of humanity, as most people do. However, I also love how people think and what drives them. Actions that on the surface seem mundane can have a beautiful underpinning and reason behind them.
Okay. Hmm.
So, when I was saying that you were attractive when you jumped into my car, isn't necessarily referring to your looks. Very curious as to the why. The why was attractive to me.
Why I popped into your box? Or your car? Well,
Yes,
I guess your car is a box, so.
it is a bit of a box.
It's a very nice box, by the way. I enjoyed driving it. Okay. I can, get with that.
Why do you see fit to engage yourself in danger so often?
I just kind of shrugs. It's what I don't know. It makes me feel alive. Because, every day is just boring, honestly. Just kind of same thing over and over again and over and over again. Need some, need like some excitement.
Do you do things like that every day?
I try.
She'll nod.
That's why I do a lot of parkour.
It's a quick and easy way to get what you want, yes?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I much have to go in the opposite direction with my peculiarity. I have to very much consciously work on not, well, doing what I do.
Mm. And you do it very well.
Yes, but sometimes I'd just like to have a dinner. Smiles.
I don't know where you're gonna find that.
Is that not what this is?
Is it? I mean, it very possibly is, honestly. So
You deal very much with perspectives, yes? You deal with much the same, but in a different way. So,
kind of non-committally hand wiggles.
so one perspective, this is dinner. To another, this is a date. To another, this is an attempt to understand the weirdo that keeps watching everyone. To
If you want
another,
to consider yourself a weirdo.
I've made my peace with that. It's fine.
Well, fair enough. Okay.
I'm more than fine with it. Decisive. I love my.
Kind of nods after a moment, like, okay. I guess, some people are okay with it. I'm not saying like it's a bad thing at all, but
I was very curious in everything you had to say about the events of the Consilium.
with that, that was a whole mess and a half. Like, I pretty much said everything that I had to, really, about the previous Concilium. The director did what he saw fit, and did it in a way that did not reflect very well with me, at least.
Was your issue with the publicness of it?
No, not really with the publicness. I was whatever about that. It was more so the it wasn't even the execution per se, it was what happened afterwards. What he did afterwards. That's what really got me.
PSA, you mean? As I like to call it. Find all. Be wary of all suspicious elements.
Yeah, watch your neighbors. And it just didn't sit right with me.
Can't imagine that it would sit well with very many people.
I mean, he basically did just kind of say, hey, let's go back to ye olden days where we all kept an eye out on each other to see if anyone did anything weird.
So that is why you wouldn't want to necessarily, at the very least, ensure that you weren't as scrutinized as others.
Not even being scrutinized at others, it's just pitting everyone against each other, making everyone fear that the other is a Tremere, and then, just kind of saying, oh yeah, and if you see anything odd, run to the nearest guardian. Just kind of like, at that point, it's just like, hey, are you doing anything weird? Are you a Tremere? Are you going to come and kill me next? Like, causes problems. Issues. You never know what's really going to happen. Like, you know, one day you could be just kind of going about your day, having a nice little time, and then, doing your spells. Your next door mage neighbor peeks in through your window, sees you're doing your spells, doesn't understand the way you cast, doesn't understand the way you work, and then boom, suddenly you got the guardian showing up at your house, all because some nosy little buddy was horrified. But I don't know. That's just me. I seem to be really the only one who's, I guess, freaking out about it. Not even really freaking out about it, but the one of the only ones who seem to be any sort of worried about it. So I just take it with a grain of salt.
Understood. She, I don't even need to. I'm not gonna roll because she's not actually lying about that. That's half-hearted as fuck. She's yeah. She seems to be rather intent about this.
Kind of squints.
Something bothering you?
Is something bothering you?
I suppose I'll just say that even though I certainly hope that doesn't happen, that doesn't mean that I won't keep an eye out for it.
An eye out for what? Your buddies doing weird stuff?
Making sure they're actually doing something negative and not doing something, well, that I just don't understand. They have these talents, but if I have to choose, I'd rather use them for something good. And random age that's just trying to get by doesn't sit well with me.
Fair enough.
Have you linked up with the other Mysterium yet?
Not particularly.
That's fine.
Then again, I don't really think there are many here.
I don't know all of them, I'll admit. Although I do need to do my diligence in trying more. Although, change of subject, if you didn't mind.
Yeah, sure.
You're bored, aren't you?
No, not bored.
Like anything. Just honestly seems curious.
No, like I'm not bored.
I was going to offer to shake things up, but never mind. Fuck it. If you want to see how fast my car could go down the freeway,
Yeah, I like to tempt fate, but I don't like to tempt fate with other people in the car. Plus, it's pretty bad weather outside, so doubly worse.
there's a limit to that. Is do you perform offerings to Lady Luck, or is it more of an abstract? And I'm really thinking here. Is Lady Luck just embodiment of positive and negative consequence?
Hmm. I completely lost track. What was the question?
My bad. She was asking if she's basically asking who's Lady Luck.
Oh. Maybe we'll just kind of shrug. I don't really, you know, do any of the big worship or anything that a lot of people do. Like, I don't believe in any of the deities of the other, religions and whatnot. I just everyone refers to Luck as Lady Luck, so I just refer to Luck as Lady Luck.
All right.
I don't know. Lady Luck seems nice. Hmm. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Yeah. It's odd that way, I guess. Do you like, you know, worship anybody?
Believe it or not, I'm Muslim.
Nice.
I don't necessarily practice very much. So I guess I'm a bad Muslim. But it is what it is.
And they'll just kind of nod. Kind of rubs the back of their head, just kind of like, okay.
I'm sorry, does that make you uncomfortable?
Not like no. It's just the silence. It's very quiet.
I'm sorry. You do not like silence.
It's just I don't know. It feels awkward. Like there's something that should be said.
Do you feel as if there is something that should be said?
I mean, in the silence, yeah. Just to have something there.
Then I'll make sure to leave less silence.
I mean, like, you don't gotta go like out your way, but I mean, like, just it just I don't. Squints. You know what? Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay.
Don't mind.
Don't mind what. I don't know what you're talking about. Ooh.
Azabani is actually going to laugh slightly and say, that would be a bad idea. Don't say that.
Say what? Nah, say it.
Fuck it. I almost think you may have a more comfortable time if we just had relations.
Uh,
Yes, no?
no, not
Let's judge that.
particularly.
Good, thank you. I'm asexual.
Kind of like they just kind of like sit there like they don't know what to do. Like, oh, it just it gives a thumbs up and then just kind of lowers it a little bit and they look like really awkward and then they just kind of like lay their hand on the table.
It's not that awkward. Or at least not to me. I understand if it can be for you.
No, like it's not awkward, just like the silence. And like, I do something and then there's like no reaction from you and it's like I'm talking to a robot. They haven't been programmed for that, particular move set yet.
Okay. This me isn't quite used to things like this yet. She'll clear her throat. Perhaps then I'll try to I'll try to be more expressive then. Is that okay?
Like, you don't have to be more expressive, but I'm like, because I understand that that's hard to do. Um, it it's it's more so just kind of like I I do something and then it just kind of like nothing else happens. So it's just like I don't know what to do because
Okay.
there's
On my end, I'm processing. Wow, that is the worst term to use. Just as you're not used to this, I'm not either. That's all I mean to say.
okay.
Okay, honestly, do you want to just get out of here?
And do what though?
No, like seriously. Just
No, seriously, and do what?
we'll figure it out.
Sure.
Come on. This place is boring anyway.
What about the food though?
We can eat the food.
Okay, I like food.
All
It's
right. I agree.
really nice. So, how's your job?
It's good. It's good. It's easy work most of the time, but it is work that suits my skill set.
Do you wish you could be doing something cooler?
I already am. Mostly with, as you call Wuji, Wiggle's fingers.
Oh, like the Wajimigu?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's the weird stuff. Wajimigu. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to do something a bit more exciting? And yes, I did phrase that exactly how I intended.
Did I ever want to do something more exciting?
But perhaps in your case, even more exciting.
Even more exciting. Yeah. Everything gets to be a bit boring after a while, you know?
She'll nod. I can see that.
Yeah. What about you? Ever wish for anything more exciting?
Oh, in my own way, constantly.
Like?
I was thinking on the sky jumping. That didn't sound terrible. At least after I gave it more than one thought. Man, that I would find exciting. I haven't really gotten the chance to push my magic yet. I'd like the chance to do so. However, my expertise requires much in the way of consent. Because it's hard to do certain things without obtaining such first.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know the stereotype of ones in my path. I think the way others would see it, we're all mm, I believe it's uptight power brokers that are willing to use mind control to achieve our aims. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Would I be correct in that or no?
And how you guys are viewed?
That's fair.
Huh?
I just said that's fair. Because you had said that you weren't sure what any of the stereotypes were for us. And
Oh. Yeah, fair enough. Sorry. Huh.
when you're not doing stunts. Oh, did you hear that?
No.
Yeah, Sabanya had asked, when you're not doing stunts, what do you enjoy doing?
Um, I guess breeding.
You did have a love for Dresden. You do have a love for Dresden. That makes sense. Any other book series you enjoy? Or books you enjoy?
Um, uh, yeah. Um, Patrick Rothfuss isn't too bad of an author. His Name of the Wind is actually pretty good. I read a lot of books though. To be fair, there's another one I can't remember who the author is, but it's called Unwind. It's not what you think it's about at all.
I'll take that. What's it about?
Sometime in the not so distant future, doctors learn how to successfully transplant every single organ of the human body, including, well, everything but the appendix. So, as this starts happening, of course, the rise for organs is needed. More and more people need organs, less and less people are dying because of this wide, organ transplant that could be, any organ. So, what happens is they have something called unwinding. So, children between the ages of 13 and 18 are, well, if they are unwanted, parents can have pretty much a retroactive abortion in which they take their child between the ages of 13 and 18 to one of these unwinding camps, and they will pretty much harvest the children for organs. It's completely government certified. It was a way to kind of please the pro-life and pro-choice factions because they considered it not technically being dead because each and every part of their organ was still being used or part of their body was being used and transplanted. So they said they were pretty much living on inside, well, everyone who had a piece of their organ. And so it's a trilogy, I believe. Yeah. It's got 3 or 4 books in the series. I haven't finished reading it all just yet. So the story revolves around a couple kids who are pretty much, going to be unwound for various different reasons. One is a state of the ward. The other was, I want to say he was homeless. And then the last kind of big major character was this young boy whose parents were a part of a religion where they would actually have children, raise them. Well, I mean, it was, I'm not going to state, what religion, but it started with a C, very big and popular. And what they would do is because they thought they were giving a gift from their big deity, big, big G. And they thought it was giving a gift. So they would have the child raise them until the age of 13 and then send them off to one of the camps. It was also a social status kind of thing. Like they could brag about, oh, yeah, I had my child go off to, such and such camp. He was so good to be, he just wanted to give a gift, to help everyone. When in fact, from the literal time they were, even conceived to being born and being raised, they were just being raised as a, pig for slaughter. And they were happy about it because they were pretty much religious fanatics at that point. Just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm the gift, and stuff like that. And this one child realized, man, I don't want to die. So he kind of became what's known as a clapper. And what a clapper is they inject themselves with this very highly explosive chemical that just chills in their blood. And whenever there's a strong enough hit to them, they explode violently. So they usually get this reaction by clapping, which is why they're known as clappers. So they all ended up at the same unwinding camp. I want to say it was like Happy Jack or something like that. They gave all of them stupid names because they tried to say it was, this really big, nice thing. And pretty much as they started going in, the youngest kid, he was, 13, of course, at this time. He had gone in with a couple other clappers, and the other clappers completed their mission, but he decided, man, I don't want to blow up either. So he was rescued in the end. He was never unwound because the chemical in the blood made the blood unusable for the process, and if 99.9% of the child was not used for organs, they could not. And so, of course, because blood is a lot, they ended up not being able to use them. Funny enough, because I say 99.9%, it was argued in the book by the girl in the story who was the state ward who had gone there. She still had her appendix, and she tried to argue the fact that, oh, I still have my appendix, you can't unwind me, you can't use all of me. And the little lady she was talking to was like, yeah, 99.9% your appendix counts as that 0.1, try again. Of course, they were a lot politer than that because, but yeah, the story was pretty fucked up. And there was this, I will never forget, because it was one of the sweetest characters and I absolutely adored him. Sweet, sweet baby. The clapper, as he was kind of, because he escaped and they were like on the run in the woods. He found another kid. He wasn't going to be unwound because his parents loved him. They were a gay couple, and apparently, it was still even kind of difficult to, adopt a kid back then too. In this book, even though, they were doing all sorts of crazy shit. They, and they traveled together, and, this one kid taught him all this and that. And in the end, you find out that this one kid, he had a head trauma, and so they had to replace a good portion of his brain. Now, what they usually did is they would take bits and pieces of other brains and just kind of mix and mash them up together in order to repair it. But this kid's family was rich, and so they gave him a whole portion of the brain instead of little bits and pieces. And because they gave him a whole portion of the brain, his memories were frequently overridden by the previous child's brain. And so when he'd go off on these like wild, wacky adventures, it was because his, the unwounded child part of his brain was taking over like the rest of his brain. And he was so sweet, but like when you kind of learn that his story took such a tragic turn, it was bad. It was good, but it was bad. I actually need to finish reading that book story, actually, or that series.
I'll make sure to buy this book.
It's pretty crazy. It goes into a lot of stuff. It's very. It really makes you think, and that's why that series and the Golden Compass series are actually like some of my. They've got to be like some of my best like books to read when I really want to get in like a good thinking mood, Because oh man, the Golden Compass. Holy shit.
That one I didn't get much of an interest in. Is that one good?
Yes. I can't remember the movie really well because I know they made it into a movie, but of course, the books never do the movie, or the movies never do the books any good. The Golden Compass, you wouldn't, okay, unless you're really smart, you wouldn't know it from reading the first book or even the second book. But when you get into the last book, you start realizing that this entire trilogy was revolved around Christianity. And that, like, there's this. It was insane. I can't remember exactly about it, but it blew my mind in the end. Because, like, halfway through the last book, I realized this whole thing was it was kind of revolved around this one young girl. And basically the big symbolism was that they had these familiars, these demons or daemons, which were pretty much their supernaturally they were their familiars. They were mages, they were from the familiars pretty much. And this corporation wanted to sever that bond somehow, kind of, and destroy that creativity. And they would pretty much conform. Everyone would act the same. They would all have the same emotions. No one would be a variable. And of course, and for some people, that certain religion with the big C, kind of a lot how it lately, and just the I can't remember it very clearly, like what exactly it is, but towards the end, in the third book, the young girl falls in love with a dude, and it's basically like Adam and Eve, and then they kiss, and everyone's like, "Oh, we're all good," and then like something like floods back into the world, like creativity or something. It was insane, and they go on these incredible adventures to different worlds, and it was good. I enjoyed it. I need to read it again so I can like refresh my mind. That was good. I've actually liked pretty much every book I've read except for one. And I can't remember the name of that book, but I read it when I was in like fourth or fifth grade. And I hated that book because it started off so slowly. They were on a boat, I think, because it was some kind of voyage book. I remember cover because it was like rainbowy. And I just remember it was so incredibly slow and dull. And I just like immediately lost interest. Fun fact, same reason why I'd never really got into the Harry Potter books, because the first book starts out incredibly slow. I just couldn't get into it because it was so slow. I was like, throw the whole book away.
No, I wasn't that into Harry Potter either. We can agree on that.
Ayy.
Actually, that's a good one. What other books haven't you liked?
Honestly, that one particular book was, well, I guess those two books were the ones that I never really got into or liked. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy the Lord of the Rings books. They just, the first one kind of starts off a little slow as well. I actually had to push myself to read through that one because I was like, I know these books get good. I've read, I know they get good. So, I kind of read through it, but won't lie, the first couple of chapters were a bore. But no, like I've enjoyed pretty much every other book I've read. I don't want to say I'm picky with my comics, but I'm picky with my comics. A lot of people have been like, "Oh yeah, you should read this comic and this comic," and they'll send me links, and I'm just like, nah.
Which comics do you enjoy?
Hellblazer.
That's fair.
And there was another one. I can't remember the name. And it was this kind of wacky adventure. I don't want to say it was poorly drawn, because it was drawn in this kind of sketchy, cartoonish way, not like the traditional comic book or like manga kind of way. And it was about this guy had become the assistant to the god of hats. It was literally just it. He was the Hatter's assistant. And the only reason why I remember, like, I enjoyed it so much was because the Hatter was pretty much Gravedigger from Black Butler. Top hat, swoopy bangs covering the eyes, crazy little all over hoppity 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 place all over. It was Gravedigger from Black Butler. And I was like, yes, I like this comic. And the poor Hatter's assistant didn't know what to do. All he could do was make hats and just kind of make tea and hats. And that was it.
One of my favorite comics, if only because they examined it so deeply, and you'll probably see this as pretty predictable once you hear what it's about. It's called Irredeemable. It is basically a world filled with superheroes. Now, of course, it's not DC or Marvel superheroes. There are many analogs, though. Obvious analogs. And the biggest one, the strongest one, by far, basically that world's Superman, is named the Plutonian. And for the most part, he acts much as Superman, loved by everyone, always stands for truth and justice and whatnot, until he goes on a killing rampage. A hateful, angry killing rampage in which he murders multiple civilians as well as goes after his old superhero team. That's just the prologue. Anyway. The actual storyline is the superhero team trying to pick up the pieces and stop the Plutonian from his rampage, and getting down to the bottom of why. Comic as a whole, I think, is an excellent method of looking at, honestly, our public servicemen. And in a way, learning about just all the expectations that we put on them, but not just that, the expectations we put on others. and how sometimes they break a person. Like, take for example, one still that sticks with me is the shot of the Plutonian. He's a very conventionally attractive man. You know, he fits the Chilthrop ideal of attractiveness. He's got blonde hair, he's got blue eyes, strong jaw, and all that. And there's this one drawing, him just looking sad. A close-up of his face just looking sad, as there are shots and text bubbles of people shouting all over the world to help, asking for his help. We may have dealt with a lot of things in our time, but the fact that there's someone that would be able to hear everyone that was in danger all the time. Power. Which,
Awesome.
which I suppose is why, even though I saw where Solomon was coming from, I ultimately disagreed.
Mm-hmm.
Responsibility aside, we can't deal with those expectations all the time. To expect that is arrogant. You can't. No one is strong enough. Which is why I feel that Atlas is such a... I don't like him as a mythological feature, mostly because it takes vastly more than one man to keep the world standing. Keep it upright.
All right. I can get with it.
The other one I enjoy is just called Uber. Yet another superhero book, but in a bit of a different vein. It's an alternate World War II story. Off in Berlin, specifically the Battle of Berlin, 1945, and the Germans, well, no, a German scientist came up with a method using, I believe, an ancient alien catalyst to basically induce superhuman power in people. So at the very end of the war, they're still going to lose. By all predictions, they are going to lose this war. But using this formula, they come up with their own superhumans. They nicknamed Tank Men. Basically just drag the war. I think we have very similar reading interests.
It seems so. which is not a bad thing at all. Oh, would also recommend another comic by the name of The Wicked and the Divine.
All right. What's up with that one?
Basically, it's every 100 years or so, various kind of different big religious deities are reincarnated as teenagers or into, like young kids. And they live for, I think, like a year, maybe 1 to 10 years. I can't remember, somewhere within that time span. And then they just die. But it's kind of to bring hope and kind of joy back into the world once every 100 years. And they are all some form of musician. So, like, the big deities that come back this time around is Dionysus. Probably pronounced his name wrong. That's okay. Lucifer, though, what I loved, Lucifer came back as a woman. It's fucking 10 out of 10. The Morrigan. Amaterasu. And a couple others I can't really remember off the top of my head. And they all just kind of pop into being. And don't get me wrong, they got superpowers. Because Lucifer got shot like a motherfucker, and then just kind of snapped their fingers and blew up the bitches that shot him. It was insane. And then Lucifer immediately went on trial. it was like, huh, okay then. But it's pretty much this really awesome dynamic of having to, go through with them, because it's basically like one of Lucifer's fangirls decides, I'm gonna help you out, and the rest of the deities, or the embodied deities, or however you want to call them, just kind of you know enjoy their time around this one particular chick too, and they all kind of go around it, and there's a lot of representation, like 10 out of 10 on the representation scale. It's like oh man, it was beautiful. And there's like this one reporter who just kind of follows them around and follows them around, and it's just like, oh, you're not real, deities. You don't have any kind of superpowers. You don't have any kind of magical powers. Yada yada yada. You're not who you say you are. Blah 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 blah. Kind of follows them around and ends up kind of joining the party as one of the kind of bigger characters as well. And basically, it goes around this kind of big. And the art style is to die for. Like, if I could draw like that, buddy, I'd be drawing so much kind of not safe for work stuff. It'd be insane. I'd have penises everywhere. But nah, it's just really in depth, and they go through a lot of like kind of real world problems in a way. It's good. I haven't read it in a while as well. I haven't read a lot of stuff in a while. Yeah.
You haven't been able to lately.
It's less of not been able to, and more so just when you just kind of fall out of something and you're just not, you got the time for it. You don't, and even though you want to read it, you just don't have like the energy to do it, in that kind of way. But yeah. Yeah. It's really good. Like they're still making comics to this day. I think the most recent one was actually published in August. So they're definitely it's still going like 10 out of 10. Oh, Lucifer's character design based off of David Bowie, by the way. I just want to slide that out there. Pretty good. And then there's like this old hag that's just an asshole. She's mean. I don't like her. Well, they got Valkyries too. The Valkyries are there with like Odin, I think.
That's fair.
And it was hilarious because the Valkyries are like this big cyberpunk. They look like Daft Punk, like in clothing design.
Nice.
And the Fates are there as well. Well, actually, the report. Oh, I'm not going to give it away. But it's good. Yep. Kind of gives a thumbs up. Like Sakhmet's in there, as is Baphomet. I'm just now starting to remember these. Persephone, Baal. Yep. So that weather outside, though.
I was wondering which one of us was going to bring that up first.
Guess it was me.
Would you like to get more books from time to time?
Sounds good to me.
All right. I would expect much the same, though. I could use more reading material than psychology textbooks.
Sweet. Except for like maybe like Hold on, I guess psychology textbooks, can be cool too. Yeah.
They're fun for me, but I understand.
Fair enough. I think here's a good time to end the scene.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, guys. It's been another